Do it again, do it again.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of The Other People. I am your host, Royter. Joining me once again is my good friend and confidant, Andrew.
Yo.
And trying to think of interesting topics over the last few days. Because originally we were going to try to record today with my friend Brandon, but he always has a very limited time on how long we can actually hang out. So that wasn't going to be able to happen. So I figured, well, we might as well postpone it to just Sunday, and hopefully I'll be able to post this up later tonight. And for the past few days, in trying to think of some kind of interesting topic that'll keep us going on and not have us stopping for long, brief interludes of thinking like, what can we talk about? The only thing that kept on popping into my mind is these celebrity controversies, and these are old ones, because I've always found it funny how, usually whenever people get to talking about the whole thing that happened with the whole Michael Jackson thing, or even the Elvis thing, a lot of people have different reactions to it. Like, there are some people who refuse to believe, and as I understand it, there never really was any solid evidence, and he did go to court, and he was found innocent.
You talking about the Elvis thing or the Michael Jackson thing now?
Or the Michael Jackson thing.
Okay.
No, I think that was the R. Kelly thing that I'm thinking of, where he was acquitted. But
yeah.
As I understand it with the Michael Jackson thing, he was found innocent multiple times. I don't know how much evidence they had on it.
Basically, one parent would bring it up, and then a couple others would come forward. And at first, they were kind of paid off, and then they kind of like, well, the money's nice, but
my
kid's been scarred. So they ended up taking him to court, but there was no real solid evidence. And then the defense attorney's credit, they brought up the whole, well, he paid them off and they accepted the money, which means they were just in it for the money and they're just trying to get more money out of it.
Kind of, yeah. So, yeah.
And so, and the jury bought that.
Yeah. Well,
but it came up multiple times because more parents kept coming forward.
Yeah. And I remember the first case most especially just because of because I remember one of the first big things they talked about was that, well, you paid them off and then they went away and then they decided to come back. Yeah. And it's just like, so what, so they want more money? Like, what, like they weren't satisfied enough? And, and...
Yeah, and then you kind of get details of it and it was like, no, I don't think they want more money. I think they slowly realize this guy is a dirty pedophile.
Well, it just doesn't help your case when you're offered money and you take it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want justice,
really
you don't take the money.
Yeah, that did kind of screw them over. But then again, depending on how well off these families were to begin with, they may not have been able to afford a lawyer, and they only had his lawyer saying, now, we can give you this money, or we can drag you into court and be found innocent anyway, and then you'll get nothing.
Yeah, and then you'll probably be stuck in your eyeballs in debt in trying to pay off the lawyers in the court. And
yeah, you're going to wind up in irreparable debt for years from lawyers and court fees. Yeah. Or you can take our money.
Yeah, kind of. But yeah, to cut to
that type of thing, I could see why they took the money.
Yeah, and well, and to cut to the long and short of it, for me, I did stop being a fan when things started getting really weird. Mostly, when when a lot of those charges and stuff started happening, it really didn't help either that Michael Jackson himself just, that he utterly changed and was just acting really, really weird.
Yeah, he didn't do his own case very good.
No.
Yeah, he kind of acted like a guy who actually done it.
Kind of, yeah. And I mean, I can go back and I can still enjoy quite a bit of his old music. It can still be a little bit weird at times.
Yeah, well, like I said, I can like what a person does and not like the person.
Yeah. I just find it so weird how there are some other people who, if you even just mention the very suggestion of did Michael Jackson do it, there are some people who just instantly say, oh no, I mean he didn't do it. He he didn't do it at all.
Yeah,
just like blanket of denial.
Yeah, kind of like those the History Channel today was just doing a thing about the Nazis in America, the neo-Nazi movement, how they got a lot of people to join in when they started. Was the leader of it basically said the Holocaust? No, that was just a big old lie. That was something that the media came up with. Hitler actually didn't kill all those Jews.
Well, and from what I understand, there are also, I don't know exactly who these people are, but they're Holocaust deniers. I understand that. And that's just fucking retarded, first of all. I mean, you're an idiot if you believe that shit.
Oh, yeah. But that's, and I would say that's where that got started. Like the whole Holocaust deniers and.
Yeah, it's
kind of like the same people that basically don't believe in medical science. It's like, I mean, I don't know if you've heard about these people that basically, if you break an arm or get sick or anything, they don't kick you to a doctor or give you any medicine. No, they just, or even set your arm. They just leave it up to God to fix you.
And that's incredibly stupid.
Yeah, but there are people out there like that.
I understand there are some people who believe in, I guess, herbal meditation or stuff like that in order to help people heal. And
yeah, that's different. You're actually doing something about it. But no, these people, you get like a bee sting, you break a leg, break an arm, break a bone, anything. They don't set the bone. They don't put it in the cast or anything. They just leave you there until you either get better or die.
Yeah.
And if you die, they just say it's God's will.
Yeah, because let's not have any real form of responsibility or anything like that. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, because they just think like the only person who can heal you is God. And I'm just like, that may be true, but who do you think gave the doctors the skill to actually do this shit, to actually help you and cure all these things? But
anyway,
yeah, that's a little off topic, I know, but
yeah, there are so many other things too that come into it. It's I've suddenly lost my train of thought because there's so much. There was just so much stuff in there that you said that I'd like to rant about, but never mind, I won't. You get people like Roman Polanski and Elvis Presley, and there are a few other people too who have these same sort of things where they can't seem to stay away from children, and I can't help but wonder. So the moment that you enter Hollywood, do you just automatically become a pedophile? I mean, is that just what happens?
It seems to be that way. It's like either you become a pedophile or you become an adulterer. I mean, it's just weird.
And it kind of makes no sense either, because I understand how there are some people who have so much charisma or so much experience, and obviously such a fan base where, I mean, I understand you got people just throwing themselves at you.
Yeah.
And if you're in a system where you have a shit ton of money, you know there's a thing called prostitution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
Charlie Sheen thing doing that, and I can't remember one Hollywood madam. I can't remember.
Oh yeah.
I keep wanting to think that it's Heidi Fleiss, but I'm not entirely sure that was her name.
I think you're close.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not entirely sure if that was her name either.
But Charlie Sheen was like one of her biggest clients, and, and yeah, she was just basically a glorified prostitute, and basically ran. She was kind of a glorified prostitute and pimp at the same time because she just ran the prostitution ring.
I mean, she did it very well, from what I understand.
Oh yeah, I mean, she had like senators, and like she kept like meticulous records so that if she ever got in trouble, she made sure that she wasn't going to be the only motherfucker who went down.
And wasn't she only busted because she wasn't filing her taxes for it?
Yeah, that's basically what they caught her on, was tax evasion.
Yeah, which is pretty goddamn silly. And then they also found like, oh, so you were running a prostitution ring too. Well, I guess we can add that on there. So it's like, oh.
Well, that's how they basically got rid of the mob back in the 40s and back in the 30s and 40s. Is they couldn't get him for any of their other criminal activities like gun running, bootlegging, and all that. So they went after the money. They got him for racketeering.
Right.
Tax evasion.
Yeah. And well, let's kind of lower the bar from people that are accused or may have actually done or have actually committed child abuse or like child rape, and such things like that. Because like you get cases like the Roman Polanski thing that was quite famous of a 13-year-old. It was so famous, in fact, that for 32 years he was never sentenced for his crime because he fled the country.
Nothing proves you're innocent like running away from the very country that's accusing you of it.
Essentially. You get actors who just get these reputations of just being incredibly impossible to work with. Like you have Russell Crowe, for example.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Most of the time, these reputations they have are completely unfounded.
I don't know how true a particular reputation of an actor can be. But
well, a lot of times what it comes down to is the actor disagreed with the director once on something, and all of a sudden they get their version. It's like, well, they're difficult to work with. They disagree on everything. It's just like, dude, I only did it once on one thing, and didn't I eventually give in?
Well, and I'm not even sure if that's what happens. I mean, first of all, you have the whole Christian Bale story that everybody witnessed because that one went viral. And then
it's like, there are those that are difficult to work with. Don't get me wrong, but the majority of it is just got blown out of proportion. The Christian Bale thing, no, that didn't, because that's actually on tape and viral.
Another one that I think of was something that didn't happen on set. It was the Russell Crowe thing where he threw a phone at somebody like while he was in a hotel, and it was, I guess, because he was having problems with using the hotel's phone, so he decided to take his anger out by taking the phone and throwing it at somebody's head and giving them a concussion.
Okay, that's a little harsh, but...
I don't know. That's the only other story on that particular actor that I know of.
The one I was thinking of is, there for a while, Marilyn Monroe had that reputation.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because they kept typecasting her as the dumb blonde.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't want to be the dumb blonde anymore.
Yeah.
And there was like a couple of times to where she would actually have really good suggestions, like, I could actually do this character a lot better, give her some heart to it. And they're just like, no, just stand over there and look dumb and pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that is a legitimate gripe that I can understand.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other examples. I'm sure there are tons out there. I kind of wish I'd done a little bit more research.
We should probably mention that this is just our opinion, and we're probably wrong on a lot of what we're saying here.
Yeah. This is probably going to be a very short discussion, too.
Yeah, because we're kind of already running out of shit to talk about here.
Yeah, essentially. Another story that I remember hearing about, which really did make me waver for a time when I first heard about it, James Cameron's Terminator story.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so there's a writer named Harlan Ellison. He's written a lot of famous short stories. He's contributed on the original Star Trek series and even the original Twilight stuff.
Okay.
Twilight Zone stuff, I mean. And so there's a story that came out some odd years ago, around the time that I guess Terminator came out, that James Cameron stole the story of Terminator from a Harlan Ellison Twilight Zone script.
Okay.
And that originally he didn't give Harlan like any form of credit for stealing it.
Okay.
And that Harlan and his lawyers originally tried to contact James Cameron and the production company or the movie company or whatever, and tried to talk to them about this, saying, hey, we believe that this person actually may have stolen this material and blah, blah, blah. And I believe originally they were just looking for credit for it.
Mm-hmm.
But because they were being very passive about it and didn't bother to acknowledge or really even talk to him about it, they said, well, okay, then we're going to take you to court over this.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the amount of evidence that we have. Because the Twilight Zone story that they were talking about, that this was lifted from, was a story originally called Soldier, about a man who is in the future, gets somehow miraculously sent to the past, and one of the futuristic enemy soldiers that he was fighting follows him back in time as well. I don't remember the rest of the details about the story or the plot.
It sounds pretty dang close, though, don't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was why. And again, I mean, that's not a really big, overly controversial story, but it is something that kind of springs to mind of like, so you kind of stole this guy's story, and you weren't really willing to give him any form of credit or anything like that. So I don't know. I mean,
it kind of makes you kind of look like a douchebag there, James.
Kind of, yeah. And then from like some stories that you hear, from set stories and such, and he does seem like a really, really hard guy to try to work for.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, from what I understand about him, he's had a lot of experience, not just doing camera work. I mean, he was a guy who kind of moved up in the ranks of a film set. Like, he was a grip. He did do some special effects work. He is a writer, and he is a cameraman.
I think he just kind of knows what he wants and he knows that he's the best one to actually do what he wants.
Yes.
And yeah, that probably would make him hard to work with, but at the same time, you can kind of understand it.
Yeah. At least the one thing that can be said is that he's not an actor, so he can't.
Yeah.
Say like, well, I would prefer that you do it like this. Da, 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 da. But then again, as a director, it's also part of your job in order to get a good performance out of somebody as well.
Yeah.
So. Are there any other controversies that you could think of, be they little or small, that have ever stuck out for you?
Not really. None that has been talked to death already.
Yeah. The only other one I can think of is something that, and this will probably be edited out, because I'm not sure how much we want to talk about it, because I know I've spoken to you about it before, and this was the sort of thing that started the downfall of me no longer liking this person.
Uh-huh.
And I think you know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet, because I did mention this on a previous Let's Play. I haven't uploaded it yet, so... Okay, so Noah Antweiler, regularly known as Spoonie online, some time ago, about a year or two ago, he got into a little bit of trouble when he decided... He was on Twitter, first of all, which is kind of a public forum.
Mm-hmm.
And well, he was talking to one of his fellow producers, and he made a rape joke at her. And it wasn't taken well. And then at which point he started having a little mini meltdown on Twitter. And there were a few people, I understand, who tried to come to his aid, and actually try to help him, maybe try to talk to him about it. There were a few other people who were really being antagonizing towards him, but he was really taking his anger out on everybody. Anybody who was willing to help and anybody who was antagonizing him. He would scream at them and tell them, "Why don't you go kill yourself, you piece of shit?" That is how he would retaliate.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, just to clarify, I saw the joke that he made. It was pretty dark and harsh. And if it was a joke, and as I understand it, it was just a joke. He really didn't present it very well. And he certainly, didn't later, try to say, "Oh, LOL, I was just kidding. It's just a stupid joke. I'm sorry." And I understand he did later apologize to said producer for the joke. But things did not seem to improve. He would later go on to claim that he has been diagnosed as being bipolar. And that I do not know if he is being medicated or seeking any kind of treatment for it. I know that he did go into treatment for his heart problems that he was having.
Yeah.
And that he has gotten better over that, because for quite a while he was having a lot of problems with it. And, well, his attitude towards his fans or towards people in general has not improved in any way, shape, or form. And some time ago, I have just... And, okay, look, that is not the main reason why I don't like him. That did really make me waver about, ooh, wow, I can't believe you actually did that. I can't believe that you acted that way. That wasn't entirely the case. It was also the fact that a lot of the quality of what he was producing was really kind of reflecting that in a way too. where a lot of his work was not as good. It was just more, it felt more like his inner anger was just kind of lashing out. And it all started to kind of culminate around his Ultima 9 review, which it was not as good. A lot of it just felt like overly nitpicking. And well, and the long and short of it is that later on, he just became just too much of a jerk. And I'm not sure if it's part of his ego or whatever it is, but there was just so much bullshit to it that I just felt like, I don't feel like I can support you anymore.
Well, didn't he basically start kind of saying like, I don't like this movie, and anybody who does is a moron? He just started spouting stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that kind of attitude had always been there. And if you could say that, well, he was doing that as sort of his character, well, if you do that during a vlog, you're not being a character. You're being yourself during a vlog.
Yeah.
I should know. That was how I started.
Yeah. There's a difference between doing a character and everybody can tell that you're doing a character and you're acting about it like Stephen Colbert with his stick.
Yeah.
And somebody who's truly believes it. And from everything that you've said, Spoonie truly believes this. That his opinion is the only one that matters. Anybody else who disagrees with him is a moron.
Yeah. And he's shown that like quite a few times, where if your opinion in any way is at all different, then you're an idiot. Like when he and Brad were talking about the Rocky series, and I have tried watching the first Rocky movie a couple of times. As a character piece, I can kind of get into it, but there are too many times where the movie is just too slow.
It drags.
Yeah. And he would make the claim of like, oh, well, they don't like it because it's subtle. It's not because it's subtle. It's because it's too damn slow.
It's slow.
Yeah. It needs to pick up a bit. It takes a bit too much of its time.
Yeah.
And there are some times where, and I don't like to rag on Stallone as an actor or anything like that, but there were, and I'm sure a lot of people will admit this and say this, there are some times where you can't understand a lot of what Stallone says.
Yeah, he's kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger in that. He's kind of got an accent to him that every now and then gets too thick, and you're just like, wait, what the fuck did he say?
Yeah, it was really long enough. Wait, you were on my place?
Huh? What?
Yeah, that's right, I play sticks. It's sticks. Yeah, that's kind of how he talks.
No!
Nothing is over. Nothing. And I know at least at some point on this show we were going to try and do maybe a Rambo discussion or something like that, but I've only seen a couple of the Rambo movies. I haven't seen all of them, and I certainly haven't seen them all the way through either.
I still need to see the last two movies. I still need to rewatch Rambo 3 and the final one.
Yeah. And nothing against Stallone as an actor.
Yeah, no, I like a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
I like a lot of his stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And and there are a lot of times where he can be kind of underrated as an actor. I mean, he can give an incredible performance.
Oh yeah, he's like well, and considering also the fact that he directed the first Rocky movie and he wrote it.
Did he?
And as it turns out, here just rewatching the first two Rambo movies, yeah, he actually wrote those.
Yeah.
He actually has a writer's credit in it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
So,
and like that's the thing that I understand about him for quite a lot of his movies as well. Is that if he's not scripted with the story, he is credited with the screenplay at least.
Yeah, like in Rambo 2. Yeah, he's actually credited along with somebody else with the screenplay. So.
Mm-hmm. I understand that he wrote the screenplay for Rocky and the original Rambo.
Yeah.
And I know
they didn't even credit him for the screenplay in the original Rambo. They just gave him a writer's credit. He's credited as the writer of it.
Right. And so anyway, I mean that's just one great example of how somebody's actions can really deter you.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I don't know how you feel about it. Because you probably did not have the same sort of response that I did. Yeah, I mean, when that whole thing started happening, and then it just kind of kept on escalating, and really made me rethink my stance on it.
Well, I can't have the same thing because since I don't have the internet, I don't see him. Basically, all I know about him is the stuff that you've sent me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but yeah, even in the stuff that you sent me, he's a little douchey with his opinions.
Mm-hmm. Now, and yeah,
it's not that big of a stretch for me.
Yeah. Now, granted, I mean, a lot of the stuff I sent you were pretty much just a lot of his reviews.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, you could say like, well, he's being an over-exaggerated character, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but he's still a little douchey.
But when you start doing that in your vlogs, or just when you're just straight up just talking to other people,
yeah,
it really shows.
You're not playing a character anymore.
Yeah. There have even been like quite a few people like, I don't think that's a character anymore. I think that's just you just being yourself.
Yeah.
And I kind of have to agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be like, now, yeah, I mean, this is a pretty minor character, and I doubt that you're aware of it. My whole J-Dog persona shit that I started doing.
I'm kind of aware of it because you mentioned it to me a couple of times.
Yeah.
Mostly when you were doing Skyrim as your J-Dog character.
Yeah. I've only done like 2 videos on it. No, technically I've done about 3 or 4 with him, where he's basically just an asshole who hates everything and thinks everything is stupid and gay.
Mm-hmm.
And and that's his persona. And and the whole idea is that he sucks. I mean, he sucks as a gamer. He sucks as a movie reviewer because he hates everything.
Yeah.
And and naturally, yeah. I mean, I can really try to hammer that point across. And it's just kind of funny to me how part of the big joke is that I'm doing this to things that I do play regularly and that I do actually enjoy or like or love. Hell, I was actually thinking of doing a J-Dog reviews the movie Die Hard, and he just utterly hates it because it's not a stereotypical action movie, and other such things like that. But I don't imagine I could do something like that for a while, mostly because I would fear trying to do that with the movie clips and then it getting blocked on YouTube.
Yeah.
A lot like what happened with my very first.
When you tried to do a horror movie review, didn't the clips that you used, I think it was either it was Nightmare on Elm Street, and didn't YouTube basically block the clips of it?
There was that one, but that one was like the 4th or the 5th one that I had done. And up until then, nothing else had been blocked except that one. I realized that now the reason why that happened was because a lot of the movie clips were longer. And well, some time ago, I actually went through the original review and I shortened a lot of the movie clips, and it allowed me to upload it. It did still do the third-party acknowledgement bullshit, which meant that, however many views that you get on this, you're not going to make any money. It's all going to go to the third-party stuff. And for me, it's like, well, that's fine. I'm not actually making any money off these anyway.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, YouTube can be very tricky about that sort of stuff. So, well, anyway, I think this discussion has sadly kind of run its course.
Yep.
Well, we will see you guys next time for another episode of The Other People. You can catch this show every single week. I upload it and I share it on YouTube and on my Twitter and on my blog. I forget the name of the blog because, I mean, there are so many times where I think, this blog page is really sort of unnecessary because all my stuff is just on YouTube. And I imagine that's where everybody just sees, or really anybody just sees my stuff. But nonetheless, I keep the blog because, well, I started it. I might as well keep it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. But I do share my stuff with a lot of other websites as well. So let me know what you guys think, and we will see you guys next time. Take care. Goodbye, Andy.
Goodbye.
Take a minute and tell you my plan. Let me